There it goes.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Screams and Beans. Cheers, Mary. So, today's movie that we're going to talk about is called Copycat, starring Sigourney Weaver, Holly Hunter, Dermot Mulroney.
I never forget how to say his name.
I know, and our favorite,
Connick
Harry Connick Jr., who's so just... You'll see a picture. I'm going to show you. So, this movie, I feel like, is a little bit underrated. You don't hear people talking about it in the psychological horror genre, but I feel like it's so good. Like, it's one of those true crime, put you in the city of San Francisco. You're following these detectives. You're following these, a serial murderer that's committing murders but copycatting from other famous serial killers who committed prior crimes. And I just love the whole movie of it. And mainly I love San Francisco. You guys know that. I've said that before. And so it's fun to see a movie filmed in San Francisco and some of the neighborhoods they end up in. And so we wanted to cover it. And we're going to have a special guest in a couple minutes. We're going to Mary's going to call my mother on her phone, and we'll put her in speakerphone because my mom is a big fan of this movie, and I told her, I'm like, well, then we should have you as a special guest.
Our first guest.
Our first mystery guest is, but you won't, I should have printed a picture of her, but I didn't do it. But, so here's
she's like, thank God.
I know. So here's the famous movie poster that came out for the movie. You can see, that it's Harry Connick's Jr. face, and then in the eyeglass is Sigourney Weaver and Holly Hunter. It's funny that Dermot Mulroney is like, he's a pretty key character. He's not even on the movie poster. It's kind of funny.
When I first saw the poster, though, I thought that was a peephole. I never noticed the face.
You thought it was like through the door, through a door, like a...
Yeah, I never...
That is funny, because, I guess I
never
could
noticed,
see that. If you're not paying attention...
Look at it, I was like, oh, because it looks like a peephole.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention, you might miss the face.
Oh, wait, that's a nose.
Yeah. So, I do have an art piece designed and all the elements cut out. I just didn't have... It's not made yet.
We're busy.
We will show and tell that on the next episode that we do. So I apologize for that. So Copycat is a psychological thrill. Oh, wait, first of all, so our coffee of the day. Oh. So Mary got a iced vanilla latte from Starbucks. I copycat.
She's a copycat.
Get it? So we have
we should have worn copy
twin.
clothes.
I know. It's funny. Well, the reason I'm wearing a scarf is it has bicycles. Every time I've been in San Francisco, I always see a lot of bicyclists, and I see bicycle messengers driving around, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun to show things.
Bicycles are always fun.
Okay, so Copycat is a psychological thriller, premiered August 27th, 1995. So, 1995, this is a year that Mary finally has a history she can talk about. So, I'll just give you a quick rundown before we kind of get into some parts of it. But, so quotes.net describes this movie taking its lead from Jonathan Demme's Oscar-winning Pulse Razor, The Science of the Lambs. Copycat strives for intelligence over gristle and carnage. It's a terse, involving thriller that swings away from the usual cinematic notion of violence as a means to an end by foregoing brawn for brains. The film follows a criminal psychologist and a homicide detective who must work together to find a serial killer who is committing copycat crimes modeled after notorious murderers. So, that's what I love about this movie in particular. Was I felt the same way. Like, you don't need the gore and the gross part of murder to have a good psychological thriller experience.
Right.
And this movie, I felt like it provided. The director, the writers, they all did a great job. So, yay.
I don't think I got Silence of the Lamb-esque.
Well, I think what they're saying is Silence of the Lambs also is more brainy. Than gory, right?
Gore,
so you're focused on the story, the characters,
the plot line of it.
I mean, granted, there is some scenes that are pretty gory, like that guy who's hung up in the gymnasium or whatever, and he's all gutted, and there are some gory scenes, but overall, it's really a psychological mess with you. So, I know we all know this, but I wanted to mention it anyway. So the serial killer, because that's the theme of this movie, is typically a person who kills 3 or more people, with the murders taking place over more than a month and including significant period of time in between.
Oh, more than a month.
Mm-hmm. The FBI defines serial murder as a series of 2 or more murders committed as separate events, usually, but not always, by one offender acting alone. There have been cases where there have been multiple serial killers working together. But you have to have at least 2 under your belt to be considered a serial. I mean, who wants to strive for that?
I don't know.
I think there are some people maybe that might be nice to give them to a serial killer, but I don't want to be one. The U.S. has by far the largest number of documented serial killers in the world. Yay us! We're special.
Way to go, America.
Wikipedia has a list of serial killers in the United States. Here's the thing. I saved that list as a PDF. It is 63 pages long. Obviously, I didn't print it. But that's how many serial killers we have in this country, dating back from like the 1800s till now.
But that's just because it's 2 or more killers. That
right? I mean, you'd be amazed how many on that list that I looked at, and you can go on Wikipedia and do the same thing. But how many were like 4 murders, 8 murders, 12 murders, 10 murders, 6 murders? I mean, holy guacamole!
Wow,
we're a little murder happy in this country.
We're all crazy,
right? So before we get into the story, let's bring my mom in, and then we can start talking about our lives in 1995. So Mary has my mom's number queued up. I'll take a little sippy while we're doing
She
that.
knows it's my phone, right? Mm-hmm. She's not going to be like, who's calling me?
Mm-hmm.
She's from Eugene, Oregon.
Cottage Grove, but yeah.
Oh, it says Eugene. It's as high as it'll go, so.
Yeah, it should be good. Come on, Mom, pick up. It's a 360 number. Oh my God. I can't text her because I'm on my phone. Oh, this is hilarious. I don't know. Hey, you're here.
I am. I was trying to get my iPad turned off.
One technology to the other.
So you are our first special guest appearance on our Screams and Beans episodes. Welcome, Adrienne Gaudette, my mother.
Hi, Paige's mom.
My mother of 53 years now.
Counting.
So we did a little intro of the movie, but we're going to start with what our life was like in 1995. And then we'll dive into the movie, and then you can add in your comments as we go along.
Okay.
So do you want me to just
I'll go first.
Okay, you go first.
I don't have that much.
And but you have something finally.
Okay, so I saw October, so that was nice reference points. So October 1995, I was just starting sophomore year of high school.
Wow.
So I went to Squim High School my freshman year.
Okay.
And then moved up. Well, I didn't move. I was forced to come to live with my dad. But I went to Port Angeles High School, so it was my first year at Port Angeles High School.
Okay.
Was 1995, and it was quite more hectic than Squim.
Was it a bigger school, much bigger
school? It was
school
so
than you
more
were used
spread
to?
out.
Oh.
When your one class is here, and then you gotta scuttle your butt to the far other side of the hill, and then and then the gym's up this way, and then you gotta go all the way back down. I was like, holy shit, I'm too fat for this. It was hard, but no, the classes were easy. I got downgraded from math. I have dyslexia, so math is not my
really hard
forte.
Yeah.
So the class that I should have been in my sophomore year, they bumped me down to a freshman class kind of read.
Whatever, yeah.
But I went all the way, because I'm thinking you only have to have 2 years of math in school.
Okay.
I did all 4 years.
Okay.
So my senior year, I was doing pre-algebra.
Okay.
So I kept
you kept with it. That's important.
Pre-algebra was really, really hard. I struggled in that.
Lots of letters and numbers.
The letters and numbers,
formulas,
and then I would swap things. So if I showed my work, I'd have the correct answer, but but then when I wrote it on the line, it was always backwards.
Oh my God, that must
So
have been
plus the teacher,
frustrating.
she was just like, I saw that what you did, so she always gave me points for for it, so I didn't fail the class. But it was really hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
So were you and Lucas dating?
I did not meet my husband until junior year, the
Okay.
summer before our senior year. We had a junior year class together.
Okay.
Miss Cookie Kelfer, she had bright purple hair, loved her. But
Teacher with purple
we
hair,
met
that's awesome.
we met in junior year, and then we got together officially right before senior year. So I floundered, freshman or sophomore year and then junior year, trying to find that this town is full of little cliques, and because I didn't grow up here. I mean, I grew up here,
Yeah.
but it was like I would live here for a while and then move, and then
So
go
you
back, and then
skipped
go back.
grades with people and
So yes, I didn't have that timeline of growing up together,
Yeah.
so I missed out on, the childhood friends that these people have. And
Sure.
that's all, but I had this one girl, I don't know who she was. She was convinced that I was sleeping with her boyfriend. She was convinced and would not leave me alone. So she would torment me, and
Did you finally go up to him and be like, will you just tell her that we have not had sex?
He did.
Oh my
And she
God.
was convinced we were lying. So she was harassing me and bullying me, and I'm just like, I don't want to swing, but I'm ready to swing. I'm tired of this shit. And then the counselors finally got involved, and you get assigned a counselor for all your years. But since I started sophomore year, I had the sophomore counselor, and his whole thing was, now can't we just get along and be friends? And I'm just like, I don't know this bitch. I don't want anything to do with her. Just tell her to leave me alone. I didn't fuck your boyfriend.
Whoa, we're getting ghetto here.
I was angry because this has been like 3 months. I mean, this has been going on 3 months. I'm like, I didn't do this.
Yeah.
So finally, she just dropped it. I don't know.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm like, yeah.
That's sort of weird.
Way to go, freshman or sophomore year, new school. Yeah, she was
Getting
crazy.
bullied?
She was
That's
crazy.
awful.
That was the only time. That was it. I
imagine there'd be a point where that bullying would have stopped when you would have just had it and snapped.
Oh, I was ready. If the counselors wouldn't have stepped in,
Yeah.
that was the next episode. And then our senior year, there was a girl that was infatuated with my husband Lucas, and she kept wanting to break us up. Well, it wasn't going to happen. But I'm passive aggressive. I just laughed at her, and so finally she tried to do something more, and I got up in her face and I made her cry, and she left.
She stopped.
Yeah, she's like, nope,
That's
it's not worth it. But I've been married for 23 years, so.
Well, Mom, you met my dad in high school, so you can kind of relate a little bit to that.
Actually, I think I was very young in high school. I might have been a freshman. I don't remember what year I met him. But I was in high school while he was in South Korea in the Army.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we pen palled.
Oh, fun, pen pals.
Which my mother found the letters and destroyed them.
Oh, kind of like my journals that you found. Well, we won't talk about that.
Childhood trauma.
Oh,
Happy stuff.
she destroyed them all?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's sad.
I have found old notes that Lucas and I wrote each other in high school. They're in a
that's so
box in the
cute.
closet.
I've kept a few little sticky
Yeah.
notes from Dave over the years.
I have a framed love letter, the 1 month or 1 month anniversary, and
That's so cute.
it's really sappy, but I framed it. It's in our wall. It's on the wall.
Aw,
Yeah,
that's love.
it's
Yeah.
cute. But yeah, that was 1995. Was my sophomore year. I started. I moved in with my dad and my stepsister, and I have a half brother and a stepmom, and it was fantastic. It was different way of life. The bus, riding a bus. Never had to ride a bus.
Oh,
I
rode a bus.
I had to ride the
lot.
city bus to Squim. To finish out my freshman year, but the school buses here I rode the bus in Squim in elementary school, and it was an hour long. It was an hour-long bus ride.
Gosh.
So here, they would wait for you. In Squim, they'd kind of wait for you because you had the long driveways because we're out in the country and stuff. Here, if you're not there, they leave your ass.
Oh. Yeah, I had that happen a few times. I remember having to like walk back home and then ride my bike. Like, oops.
I had to wake my dad up. It was one time I found out that my dad slept nude. I never
Oh,
knew.
no.
Oh yeah, it was quite the shock.
Oh,
I was like,
gosh.
okay, he didn't wear. We always made sure next time. But, yeah, it was quite entertaining. But I was 15.
You were young, 15.
I was just about to turn 15.
I'm glad we're in a decade when you finally had some memories, Mary.
I'm so young.
You are. I was 24 and you were 15. That's crazy. So 1995 for me, I was 24 years old. I got engaged to Dave. We had been dating almost my entire college time. I mean, I met him the summer right after my freshman year. So when I went into my sophomore year, he and I were friends, and then we started dating, and then it just sort of took off from there. So I didn't really have a lot of boyfriends. I went to a lot of parties and had fun, but I didn't really have a lot of boyfriends because we were dating. So, so yeah, we got it. I always told him, I'm like, you can't. I'm like, I know I'm being forward-minded here, but you can't ask me to marry you until until I know I'm going to have my degree. It was just very important to me to get my college degree.
To be self-sufficient.
Yeah, so I didn't want to, have to
that.
rely on him or whatever. So he was very mindful of that, and he did ask me to marry him that spring. So right before, so it was my senior year, and then so I went into my my final internship, which was the summer of 1995, and it was at the athletic club in Corvallis. I can't remember the actual name of it. And my major was exercise and sports science, so I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist, but I knew by my senior year that I just didn't have the grades, and it's a very competitive market out there for to get into a good college. You needed the 4.0 and all this experience, and I just okay, I'm just going to get my degree, whatever. But my degree required us to have a certain number of internships in the field of that study. So being at a health club made sense, and so that summer I organized a fun run. So we through town, we had the cones and everything, and the kids would run and get little prizes, and we'd have the colored water and stuff that they could sip along the way.
Aww.
And then I taught an aqua aerobics class, kind of like what we're doing. So I had the people in the water, and I was up on the pool deck doing the movements and getting them to move. It was very basic movements.
I was gonna say it's not like Wendy.
And then part of that internship, so I did those things, but then I also was responsible for everybody just had to roam through the gym and clean the equipment and talk to people, whatever. Well, during that entire summer, the OJ case was on in the background. So
yeah, that's right.
I just got so oversaturated, I quit paying attention, and I wish I would have, because now looking back, I'm like, that was a true crime story. I could have been following it along much closer, but I was so I'm over it.
My dad was obsessed with
the
it.
only thing I remember is, if the glove doesn't fit, you must quit.
But the glove obviously fit.
So after that internship, I was able to get my degree. They sent me my diploma. And so I graduated with a Bachelor of Science from Oregon State University. I was very proud of that. And in September 16th, 1995 was when Dave and I got married. And we got married at his parents' house. So before that, my mom hosted my... what do you call that? Wedding shower? Wedding shower.
Oh,
she hosted
bridal
my
shower?
bridal shower at her house. And then after we got married, we had this kind of weird pseudo honeymoon. So as soon as we got married, Dave had to take a work trip to Oregon Caves National Monument, and so the government was paying for his travel, and so we just had to pay for me.
And that's nice, though.
So we were staying at the Oregon Cave Chateau, which is a beautiful old mountain lodge up there. I mean, it's on the drive. Driving that road as a driver, you almost get that seasick feeling. The road is so curvy. So being a passenger, by the time we got up there, I'm like, whoa.
Oh yeah, I've been already sick.
So it was that road is Harry Carry. I don't know how people do it every single day driving up and back.
Ooh,
but
yeah.
So we got married and we stayed there, and while Dave was doing some kind of whatever he was doing work wise, I would just go wander around the monument, I would take the cave tours. I did that more than once. It was really neat seeing a real cave. I had never seen that before. And then after that, we went into our first government house at Crater Lake National Park where Dave worked and where I met him because I did a summer job in the summer after my freshman year at Crater Lake in the gift store as a clerk, cashier. And Dave was interpretive ranger, so he had the uniform and so man
in uniform.
Yeah, and so my friend Prudence and we were so connected that by the end of the summer everybody called us Phaedrants. And we meshed our work schedules. We just had a blast that summer, but we would go down, the guys at the concession would get mad at us because we'd ignore them because they were like, where are you going in life? You're like a cook. Hello. So we'd go down and party with the Rangers because they're going to college and they're more educated and we were kind of snooty and wanted to party with, the cool crowd. And so that's how I met Dave, was we crashed a party.
That's hilarious.
So that was kind of my life with Dave started basically in 95 and I graduated college. I guess the big kind of key moments in life happened that year. Mom, I was 24, so you were still married to Bob. You were living in Springfield. No?
Oh, your mom's going to correct you.
Oh, I'm wrong again. Okay, you tell your story. I'll be quiet.
You don't tell anybody how old I am.
No, I didn't. I swear.
That's where you were going with that. That's why I said,
no. I was just saying, what was your, in 95, you were still married to Bob. You were living in our North 21st Street house in Springfield. Yep. So Sarah and Jesse were still under your roof, I assume. I don't remember.
You said that the movie came out in October of 95?
Yeah.
So I subtracted one from all you guys' years because you hadn't had your birthday yet. So Jessie was 16 and Sarah was 11.
Okay, those are my sisters.
And I've been married 14 years.
Okay.
And I was going to Lane Community College at that time, getting my office administration and accounting degrees.
Oh, that's right. That's right. My stepdad had a business at the time, more business form or gold forms and label, and so my mom was working for him. Basically, they ran the business together.
Oh, cool.
Well, I did the bookkeeping and the paychecks and that. I remember we were using Windows 3.0. No, we were using DOS.
Oh, wow.
And then we upgraded to Windows.
Big change.
I was there at the beginning of all that.
Yeah. Wow. I remember you, didn't you, end up, it would drive you crazy because you ended up having to help one of Bob's employees who was just not getting it, how to use the systems.
Actually, it was Bob that was.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, his problem is, he's smart. He still is smart, but he would anticipate all the keystrokes and enter them before the computer asked.
Oh.
So he'd constantly be freezing it up and messing it up because he wouldn't wait for the computer to be ready for the next keystroke.
Back when computers worked that way.
Oh, and we had dial-up modem. I mean, those were the days, man.
I think my sophomore year I took a typing class.
Oh yeah, I took typing in high school.
I'm a better finger pecker than I am a.
I am a good typer now because I do it every day.
You do it every day, yeah. So. I don't.
And you're
we had a typing class where there was 3 of us in the classroom. Who would smoke the place with our competitions.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
One old lady, she was white-haired. She could go 90-something words a minute.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
That's a lot.
I was racking in about 60, and then there was another guy who had worked in I forget what ranks of the military, but he'd been one of those procurement officers.
Okay.
So he was very familiar with typing really fast. So it was the 3 of us. The rest of the class would just stop and stare.
That's awesome because you had the skills.
But I have a funny story on Phaedra. You reminded me of Prudence.
Oh.
Bob and I went down there one time camping to visit you guys, and you were still dating Dave. Or no, you hadn't even really started dating.
I think we were just friends. Yeah, we kind of weren't sure.
We were sitting around a campfire, and Prudence kept, like, trying to get Dave's attention. She was looking at him all the time and smiling and, carrying on and flirting.
I had no idea.
Not even paying any attention to her. He was on to you.
Yeah, baby.
Bob and I went home just laughing, going, that man is smitten.
Oh, cute.
I love.
Damn
That's
sisters,
so cute.
though.
But no, she was my best friend that summer. So, but yeah, that's funny.
Well, she didn't have a chance with Dave.
The funny thing was she had a crush on this guy named Clark. So towards the end of the summer, there was like a final sort of like wrap up party kind of before everybody dispersed, and it was like around midnight, and Prudence had a crush on this guy named Clark. And I was like not sure how I felt about Dave, but the four of us decided to take a walk from the park housing area where we were staying up to this place called Vita Falls. So it was like 1.5 miles up the road in the dark. That was like full moon. And so Dave and I, Prudence and Clark were kind of ahead of us, walking, talking. Dave and I were kind of trailing behind a little bit, walking, talking. And by the time we got up to Vita Falls and we were standing by the falls, Prudence and Clark were like kind of off to the side area. So Dave and I walked up to the falls, and then that was our first kiss.
Kissy.
By the falls, under a full moon, and my foot went up, and I was like, I know this is real. My foot went up. So yeah, that was cute. Moment. And then the whole walk back, we were holding hands. So the kind of like, even though we weren't too sure where it was going to go, like we had that moment. It was really sweet. It was sweet.
That's very romantic,
right? Yeah. I know. It was that park. I have such good memories of that park. I don't want to live there again, but it was really good times. Okay, so we're back to the movie. So it starts out with showing Sigourney Weaver, who plays Dr. Helen Hudson, at a podium giving a talk to students in a college about serial killers, and she's quoted as saying 9 out of 10 serial killers are white males aged 20 to 35. Albert DeSalvo, Bianchi and Buono, Berkowitz, Dahmer, Ted Bundy, they're quite unassuming, even nice. They held jobs, they made decent neighbors, their victims trusted them. The FBI estimates there could be as many as 35 serial killers cruising for victims as I speak. And then she says, serial killers are not a 20th century invention, but we seem to be spawning them in ever greater numbers. I just that kind of gave me the chills, because
you never know.
You just never know. Like, guy next door is super nice, but he could have some chick in a basement strapped to the wall. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And especially now, since this culture, and I'm one of them, I don't know my neighbors. Yeah. I couldn't tell you their names. I know the one across the street. But, like, the neighbors around us, you don't talk to the neighbors like you used to. You don't get to
there's not our neighborhood is trying, like, one of our neighbors had an ice cream social this summer, and then another neighbor puts on a fall Christmas gathering. So, like, some people do try to get us all together, but it's rare.
Yeah. So you don't know. You don't know. And like I said, a lot of these people, they were so nice, and why would you suspect them?
Right. And yeah, Ted Bundy especially, because he was a good-looking guy, and he would do the ruse. He would, like, put a cast on his arm, or pretend he had a broken leg, or like he would get women to help him.
The sympathy.
Yeah. Anyway, Mom, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It is a creepy statistic. I also wonder, though, just like everything else nowadays with computers and databases, if we're just aware of more of them. If they were always there, but we just didn't know it.
That's true. Because how would you, so many times we hear, even within the same county, the sheriff's office isn't talking to the police department, who's not talking to whoever, and so there could be similar crimes being committed in the same geographical locale, and nobody's putting any of it together. So that you're probably right.
Exactly.
Like things were
Right.
probably happening and nobody really could pinpoint that was happening. So I just remember you telling me you were hitchhiking in the 70s and like, dude, that was height of
Yeah.
serial killerness. Like, what were you thinking?
My mom and dad did. My mom
Oh my
hitchhiked
God.
from here all the way out to Forks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That just like, I would never even think to do that today
Yeah.
because of how life has
No.
changed.
I picked up the hitchhiker once.
Oh,
Once.
girl.
And my husband lit into me.
Oh, yeah, Dave
Because
would
I had,
not
I had
have it.
Abby in the car.
Oh. Yeah.
We were camping at our local place was Altair on the Elwha.
Okay.
And these people, they flagged us down and they honestly just wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
They weren't looking for a ride. They were trying to go up to the hot springs. You know,
Solduck.
No,
Oh.
the
The Olympic hot
Yeah.
springs. Okay,
the
Boulder
older,
Creek.
yeah,
Trail.
where you have to. It's a 2 mile
Yeah,
hike,
yeah.
2.5 mile hike up.
Yeah, I've been there.
Somebody had told them, and they were at the almost where the ranger station was. So they were almost at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody had told them that
Boundary Springs, that's what it's called.
they had
Boundary
to
Springs Trail.
that they could get up there before nightfall.
Mhm.
And I'm like, there's no way you're gonna make it. I go to get to the bottom, you know, to the beginning. You have 2.5 miles just to hike up that. And I go, and we're not even anywhere near it, you know. So because then you got to go up Lake Mills, and you know,
Oh,
you
yeah,
go all the
yeah.
way up there. And so I offered him a ride. I'll take you to the trailhead. I go because you can't drive up there anyways.
Mhm.
So I'll take you to the trailhead because there's no way you're gonna make it there before dark, and it's
That
dangerous.
was nice of you.
So they got in the car with their backpacks, and then they were like, no, we don't, no, we're good. And I'm like, no, it's fine. They got in and they were feeding Abby. They were cutting a peach and feeding Abby, and I didn't think anything of it. And my husband, when I finally got to the camp spot, he's like, what took you so long? Well,
you told.
I picked up a couple. You did what with Abby in the car?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Well,
up in the
yeah.
woods in the middle of nowhere. But
It
I
seemed
felt
innocent enough.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm just, Mom, you were kind of Ted Bundy's type at the time with your long brown hair and skinny body, and I'm just like, how did you hitchhike and survive? I don't know.
It was not. We didn't even know it was dangerous. I mean, Cottage Grove at that time had a population of 5,000.
Okay.
We hitchhiked out to friends' houses that lived out, you know, in the country a little bit, a few miles. I mean, we'd be walking along, and if you saw a car coming, you'd put your thumb out.
it was
The other thing
normal.
is, after I married Carl, we had to hitchhike back and forth to Eugene a lot.
Oh,
He didn't drive. We couldn't afford a car.
okay.
It was later on that I finally bought my first car. So, again, we didn't think it was dangerous.
Well, if you were with him, I could see, like, you would probably feel safer anyway. I mean, I know that's kind of sexist, but, you know.
Well, it's true.
But it's true, yeah.
But usually the other way around. If there's a hitchhiking couple, the girl is the decoy and the guy is going to attack the driver.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
So it's the other way around.
that's true.
But I think serial killers, it seems like most of them stalk their victim first.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they don't seem as
They were-
random as they try to
Yeah,
occur.
and the ones who didn't, who were very spontaneous, seemed like they got caught much faster.
Faster,
Yeah.
yeah.
They were, not what they called organized. I
So
love that. They
Yeah.
always distinguish
Organized and
Disorganized, yeah.
I told Mary she has to watch that series Mindhunter, which is about the early days of the FBI forming the Behavioral Sciences Unit and basically the John Douglas character. She hasn't seen it yet,
I
but
haven't
it's
seen
very,
it.
very good. So Dr. Helen Hudson, she describes this. She said, the screams of the victim deaden his pain, and she's talking his as serial killer. Deaden his pain. The act of killing makes him intensely alive. What he feels next is not guilt, but disappointment. It was not as wonderful as he had hoped. Maybe next time it will be perfect. And his determination builds to take another life. He plans in obsessive detail what props he'll bring, what knots he'll tie, what turns a serial killer on is the suffering death of another human being. It's like, my mind doesn't even think that way. Like, these people are so broken. I just don't even, I don't get it.
They are broken. And what's scary is with modern science, we're discovering a lot of that is something in their brain is broken. They're not able to be rehabilitated. What do you do with those people?
Yeah, for real. I don't know. I mean, there's only so much medication and treatment, and I mean, I guess they end up in jail forever. They get the death penalty sometimes. Like, it's just sort of a sad way to
criminally
stick them somewhere. Yeah, we don't have the psychology. We don't have the the asylums or the treatment centers anymore, and those people can't be treated anyway. We psychologists have determined that. So there's no amount of therapy. I mean, therapy only gives them a way to talk about themselves. It doesn't really they're not changing their personality. No. So there isn't anything we could do with them but keep them in jail.
Yeah.
So Harry Connick Jr. plays Daryl Lee Cullum, who's a serial killer that attacked Sigourney Weaver's character in the movie years before she was So the night that she gave that speech at the college, she was attacked in the restroom by Daryl Lee Cullum, who was played by Harry Connick Jr. And she, after that attack, it affected her so much that she became an agoraphobic, the kind of person you can't go outside, you can't even go in your own hallway. Yeah. The movie was so awesome about how they portrayed how she the felt about the just to reach her arm out the door to grab a piece of paper, her whole visual world just starts spinning.
Newspaper
was really amazing. But I have to share this. I found a picture of
he's one of the weird
Daryl Lee making a face almost like an Elvis lip face in the movie that had a snapshot and compared him to Alfred E. Newman from Mad Magazine. They honestly, they look alike. They are so hilarious. I mean, Harry Connick's ears don't stick out as far, but they are so similar. It's so funny. So I mean, that's just awesome. Right?
It is.
They kind of look alike. And then I found this one that's it's a cartoon version. It says, "I'm death and life to you, Doc." He talked with a southern accent in the movie.
The drawl.
And it just the way he talked, it was just creepy. And he said, "Hey, Doc, I've been expecting your call from one author to another. How did you like my book? He. I mean, the way that he talks is so bad." And then he was talking about how it gets so lonesome in here. So basically, the detective who's investigating the current day's crimes, they determined are based on copycat of other serial killers. So they're using Helen to help them understand what these crimes are about, the details of the crimes. She's pairing back to previous notorious serial killers' crimes. So this current serial killer is the copycat. And so she has to go in and talk to Daryl Lee Cullum in jail. And that's where he's talking to her. And he's trying to make a deal with her. I'll tell you information, but you have to do something for me.
Yeah.
And he asks for her panties and she agrees. I'm like, ah! Yeah. I'm like, if it were me, I'd give him the worst, I don't know, skid marked, gross
I would just go buy
underwear.
A pair of underwear.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, I would just go buy a pair.
There's no way I'd want to give him real underwear. No. That's so gross.
Yeah. I don't think she went to the jail because
she did it over the FaceTime thing.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. They brought him into a room with a camera and they were doing it that way. You're right. I forgot about that.
FaceTime.
But his famous thing was, "I'm death and life to you, Doc. Death and life." Because what he was saying basically was so these killers out there that we don't know about, well, they're contacting him through letters in jail, and he's guiding them through how to be a more effective serial killer. And so he could easily teach one of them or guide one of them back to her to kill her. So it's just this weird, cycle of death that he's bringing on. And I thought it was interesting that one of the clues that they got when they were investigating was the band The Police. played the song "Murder by Numbers," and it was talking about, the lyrics in the song were very apropos to a serial killer's mindset. It starts out saying, "Once that you've decided on a killing, first you make a stone of your heart, and if you find that your hands are still willing, then you can turn murder into art." Like, ew! Sting, where did that come from? That kind of made me wonder, like, is Sting a serial killer?
It was
we don't know it.
an interesting song lyrics that, when you actually listen to it, you're like,
right? I mean, I remember hearing that song. I just never paid attention, I guess.
A lot of people now, I've seen a lot of the video clips where you hear the songs as a kid and you're singing along, and then as an adult, you actually like, wait, what did I sing? How inappropriate was that?
Right?
Because you don't. God. You sing the song and you don't really think about the words of the song.
Right.
You're just like, oops.
So Sigourney Weaver prepared for her role by consulting with a real forensic psychiatrist, Park Dietz. He's a criminologist, and in 1987, he created the specialty of workplace violence prevention and founding the Threat Assessment Group, TAG, and specializes in analyzing and managing threat behavior and communication, stalking, risks arising from domestic violence, and other abnormal activity in corporations, colleges, and schools. So it's sort of the onset of behavioral science being taught outward to like let people know, like, there are certain behavioral patterns that you can watch for,
especially in the workforce.
Well, and schools.
In schools, yeah.
The director, John Emile, chose to set Copycat in San Francisco because he liked the idea of contrasting a physically beautiful city with horrendously cruel human events. Mm-hmm. That is true. I mean, Mom and I went to San Francisco on a trip way back when, and we had a blast, and it is a beautiful city. I mean, yeah, there's homeless, and there's certain aspects that are, areas that you shouldn't go into, but the areas we just walked around, we were safe, we felt safe. Yeah. It was a beautiful city.
We went to San Francisco too, but I don't know.
it's just pretty. So the filming locations in the city were Potrero Hill, Twin Peaks, Pacific Heights, and Fort Mason. So again, there's a National Park Service connection. Fort Mason is inside Golden Gate National Recreation Area. In fact, Fort Mason is where the headquarters to that whole Golden Gate National Recreation Area are. So it, encompasses quite a bit.
Sorry, my guard dog.
And I was in I was able to when Dave was on his detail in October 2019 to February 2020, I went the last 2 weeks of February. So I commuted in with him a couple times. So I was able to work from a vacant office in that building that overlooked the San Francisco Bay. It was incredible. It was really cool. It was beautiful. We left town right on the cusp of COVID-19. Like the cruise ships that came back with people that were quarantined were quarantined in the Bay. They weren't allowed to come in and depart people yet. But there were so many cases popping up all up and down the coast that the states were starting to close the borders, and we got out of California just in time. Like, we were basically just cruising home.
Shoot.
Like, we almost got stuck there. And then Pacific Heights, that neighborhood is famous for the movie Pacific Heights. Do you remember that movie? It was Michael Keaton and Melanie Griffith and Matthew Modine, and it's another psychological thriller. And let me just say, you will never want to sublet anything ever after watching that movie, because Michael Keaton is the bad guy, and Melanie Griffith and then Matthew Modine, they have like a second room in their apartment in this house.
My husband's home.
Hey, Lucas, they sublet to him, and he, as a tenant, like, he knows the law, and so he gets away. He just destroys this area that
I'll
he's
have to
renting.
watch that one too.
And they can't do anything about it, and he becomes more increasingly violent and riskier behavior. It's an interesting movie. Anyway. So that's kind of my wrap on Copycat. Mom, did you have any thought? I know you really like the movie too, which is why we brought you in as a guest.
I do. However, after I've watched it for the third time, there's nothing in there that scares me anymore.
Right.
Because I know what to anticipate.
Yes.
So I was just watching it, very unemotionally, I guess, sort of like looking for things.
Yeah.
And again, it was kind of like with that one of those other movies we watched for. I thought Holly Hunter was just too soft and too sweet to play a female detective.
Ah, like she should have been a little more.
That ring true with me.
Okay.
And this could be just a stereotype. I don't know any police women, so I couldn't say for real.
No, I see what you're saying, because she's not, you don't think...
She's not hard.
She's not hard, yeah.
She is pretty emotional, yeah.
I just, by that time that she's made detective, I would figure she'd be a little more, oh gosh, I forgot the word, but not skeptic, but down on things. Yeah, I forgot the word.
2 a.m. is when you'll remember it. It's 2 a.m.
Yeah. The other thing is, I cracked up towards the end where Sigourney Weaver escapes the bathroom scene where Peter's really trying to kill her for real.
Yeah.
She goes up to the roof. It's like, there we go again.
Yeah,
that would have been the last place.
Down and out. Yeah. Instead of down and out a building, you're going up to a place where you can't escape.
Yeah. I thought it was, I agree. I thought it was completely stupid because it's, let's go to the roof where you got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Nowhere to hide.
Given how agoraphobic she is, you'd think that'd be the last she'd want to go somewhere where she could be trapped again. Like, it was just weird.
You're so out in the open.
Yeah. I thought that was weird too. I was kind of laughing at that. I did enjoy seeing the city, though. I thought that was really cool.
You were pointing out places when you saw places.
Like that one murder that happened by the sign where the girl was laid out. It was like, it looked like it was in the Marin Headlands, which is a beautiful area. Mom, you and I didn't make it over there, but I did with Dave, and it's really pretty. You're on the opposite end of the bridge, and so you're looking towards the city from the Sausalito side, but you're up in the hills, and it's magnificent.
Was at the time we couldn't get somewhere we wanted to go because there was some kind of a bicycle, big, large event, and so some of the access roads were closed off to traffic.
I'm not sure. I can't remember. I mean, it would have been going over the Golden Gate Bridge, but I don't think I knew enough about the city at that time to really understand like where to go to navigate things. So we just sort of stayed within the area that we were staying mostly.
Yeah.
But we had fun.
The only other thing I want to add is, I watched this movie for the third time today just to refresh my mind. I'm also halfway through reading Stephen King's Mr. Mercedes.
Oh, that's such a good story. It's so creepy.
Into that guy's mindset of why he wants to kill.
And
wants to be famous and yada, yada, yada.
It's that story is really good, and the mini series that they made out of that is also very good. But finish the book first, because obviously
I bought the book to read it again. I read it a long time ago, but I'm reading it again because evidently it's the first of a trilogy, and I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Yeah, I didn't either. I was looking up the other night. I was texting Mary, and I was looking up audiobooks by Stephen King to, because sometimes I'm in my craft room and then I want to be working with my hands, so audiobooks work really well for that scenario. And I was looking up Stephen King books, and I came across that factoid that there's Mr. Mercedes is like one of 3 in a trilogy. I'm like, what?
You're like, so I haven't watched the other 2.
I know.
I
gotta figure that out too.
The other ones, it's about the retired detective Bill Hodges.
Yes, that's who it is. Yep.
But the other 2 books, one is called Finders Keepers, and the other one is called End of Watch.
Okay.
And I haven't read either of those, so I'm enjoying and taking my time going through this.
Yeah, that one is one of his better ones, I have to say. It's creepy.
Nice.
All right, well, Mary and I gotta wrap this up because we're headed to Downtown Theater to see the movie Jaws in a horror series. So Port Angeles has a new performing arts center. I can never remember the actual name of it. I just call it
Arts, I think is what it's called.
So it's downtown. It's this beautiful building. It kind of faces the street, and then there's theaters inside, and there's a summer like not really festival, but just once a month they're featuring a different scary movie. And so we went last month and it was Friday the 13th, which we thought was hilarious because we had already done like that was our first Screams and Beans episode.
Yeah.
So this time they're airing the movie Jaws. We're not going to cover it on Screams and Beans because everybody's seen Jaws. They know what it is, but we just think
I've never seen it on a screen.
Yeah,
I wasn't old enough.
Exactly. I don't remember seeing it on a big screen, so we're kind of excited about that. But it starts at 7, so we got to go meet Mary's mother-in-law Brenda, and the 3 of us are going to go watch Jaws. So
I'm going to put Pacific Heights in my movie queue.
Yeah, I liked
I'll have to go look for that too.
I mean, I like Melanie Griffith. I know people bag on her, but
I like her.
Yeah, she was in Working Girl.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was a good psychological.
Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you for
today.
being our first guest speaker.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, we're getting another call.
I don't want to talk to Aunt Betty.
There's a barbecue tomorrow, and Aunt Betty's all over this stuff.
I don't want to do it.
Trying to get Mary involved in all kinds of shenanigans. So,
Aunt Betty.
All right, you guys, thank you for joining in and talking about Copycat, and we had fun doing it. Thank my mom for being the guest speaker. And we will have other guest speakers as we go along. In fact, in October, we're going to wrangle Mickey Chisholm. Mickey Chisholm, our friend.
That's her last name?
I think so.
Oh, I have no clue. I was even trying to butcher it.
She is a huge fan of Michael Myers, and we're going to cover the Halloween. Halloween. I don't know how many Halloweens we can cover, but the first one definitely was like the
best one,
the amazing one.
Yeah,
changed horror.
I don't think we picked a movie for next month, so we'll have to go back to that.
We'll figure that out. But so this is almost an hour, so thank you all. Love you. We keep talking. It's the coffee that makes me talking. I can't stop. All right, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Cheers.